Poland.
Uh-oh. They got a little offline and coming in there from Poland, but they, big team.
They made it in.
Certainly a big team from Poland. 140 athletes. They've always been a strong Paralympic team. I like those outfits too. See, some of the countries are not exactly uniform, and some of them are pretty darn near uniform. Looking almost exactly the same. Everybody's wearing the same thing. And as an athlete, it's that moment of anticipation too, when you go to get your uniforms, wondering what they're going to look like.
And whether they're going to fit properly, I guess, as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure it's different between different countries, but...
We should remind people that if they want to get in touch with us at all, they can do so through our Facebook Paralympic Games page. It's nice to know people around the world are watching our coverage.
Right.
Wherever they may be.
And hopefully they are watching the coverage, because it'll be great coverage, great way to see the sports. This is a nice kickoff.
It is. It's great. But then the games proper begin first thing tomorrow morning, and we've got plenty of sports that we'll be covering. You can stream online, and you can also watch video on demand as well.
Puerto Rico.
So if you missed something then you really wanted to see it, you can always find it on the website, paralympicsport.tv, or just go to the main Paralympics website, paralympics.org, and follow the links to Paralympic Sport TV.
The white suits, Puerto Rico.
It's ambitious.
That's ambitious and sharp looking.
Looks sharp. I wouldn't have kept it clean for this long, I don't think.
That's often my biggest problem as well.
Guitar.
Yeah. Now they might be dealing with a little bit different temperature change than the Aussies or the Kiwis.
Yeah, that's true. Very hot in the middle of summer.
Coming from about 120 degrees or something like that.
Absolutely.
You could train early in the morning or late at night or indoors.
Romania. Karel Edward Novak, a cyclist, is the Romanian flag bearer.
The Russians, as we know, will be hosting the next Winter Games in Sochi in 2014. And the Russians have a big contingent here. You can see that they have 289 athletes.
Well, that's one of the biggest teams then. That makes them
one of the
almost the biggest.
One of the biggest teams in there with the Canadians and the Aussies and a variety of those teams. Be interesting to see. Sochi 2014, a couple of the Russians I used to race against, a couple of the Russians who also were Nordic skiers. They were doing both winter and summer sports. They'll have some excitement, but you see these countries that are making an investment in their future and then in the upcoming future and near future when they're going to host the games.
Has Sochi, to your knowledge, hosted many of the top level competitions before? Or?
They hadn't prior to this. A lot of the venues are getting their first look.
Sochi's essentially a resort town, isn't it?
It's a resort town, and I guess it even has some palm trees in it.
Rwanda.
I'm not sure if that's right or not, but I remember reading that somewhere. And so it's kind of an interesting place to be hosting the Winter Games. Now these might be the most unique of the uniforms that we've seen thus far. From Rwanda.
Yep. It's between them and the Mexicans, I think, for the most creative.
Well, Mexicans had a whole lot more variety.
Yeah, so much colour.
Theirs.
But these are certainly distinctive. Nobody
most
else
definitely
looks like.
No, this is the most unique. You can see people documenting Samoa. 6 athletes from Samoa. It's a little bit of a difference when you're a small country versus a big country, where some of the big countries, it's almost like you can get lost in the crowd of the big country, where as 6 people, you think, I'm excited to be here, but wow, everybody's looking at me.
Yeah, that's right. I guess you either relish it or you hate being the center of attention.
Exactly. San Marino coming in here.
Particularly if it was your first games, or you're just not used to seeing crowds this absolutely huge. So,
well, you understand competing in front of a crowd.
Saudi Arabia!
But that's actually doing something. Whereas this, you're just coming in and you're celebrating the moment, but at the same time, people are just looking at you. And you go, wow, okay, this is Saudi Arabia coming in.
Senegal!
Well, Senegal's looking pretty good too.
They do look very
That
good.
looks great.
They really do.
Got the yellow shoes to match.
Yeah, they're bringing the whole ensemble together.
Serbia!
Serbia has 23 athletes. Pretty good representation. You see that they have Serbia written in their native language, and then out front on the umbrella they have it written in English.
Sierra Leone!
Mohamed Kamara is the flag bearer for Sierra Leone.
I like those jackets. Those are good looking.
Very sharp.
Yeah.
Jeans. Haven't seen that.
No.
Singapore!
Oh, the big smiles say it all, don't they? It's fantastic.
They do. Yeah, they're happy to be here. 18 athletes from Singapore.
Slovakia!
Big team from Slovakia, 64 athletes, proudly waving the flag. They look like they're ready to go right now, don't they?
They do.
This is a lot of their introduction to London, but time to go to work tomorrow.
Do you think it's easier getting straight into competition in the first couple of days, or is it better to have a couple of days off? You know how the scheduling works out. Some athletes don't compete tomorrow, of course. They might not compete until the weekend or even next week sometime, so they've got to wait.
I could
Is
only
it better to
speculate.
just get straight into it? Do you think?
I can only speculate because I've always competed in athletics. I competed in at least 4 events, 100, 200, 400, and 800, and then often the relays as well. So it seemed like I was competing every day, and that's all I've ever known.
Sure.
So it's hard to really speculate on what it would be like to get here and not be able to do it, or not be able to start right away.
Solomon Islands!
But I think you do. There's a bit of a team dynamic as well, that you can watch your teammates, and you see people who are successful, and you think, okay, well, I can be successful, and you can sort of gain a little bit from their experience. So that might be helpful, but I'm sure it's different for every person. It really is.
South Africa!
South Africa, probably one of the most celebrated athletes, who's carrying the flag right there, Oscar Pistorius. We saw a lot of him in the Olympics.
We did.
The Blade Runner, running the 400 meters in the Olympics, made the semifinals of the 400. We'll see a lot more of him, and I think one of the cool things is we'll see a lot more of him, but we'll see some competition for Oscar.
And that's what he's been saying very much in the last sort of day or two. He's been doing a number of media interviews, and he's was really at pains to point out that this is not an easy ride for him. In fact, he's expecting to be challenged more than ever because I guess in a way you become the hunted, don't you?
Oh,
when
he's
you've got a
gigantic
reputation.
bullseye on him right now.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been racing against able-bodied athletes. He's now one of the most recognisable athletes in the world of any sport, any discipline.
And he's done a tremendous amount for the Paralympics. He's shined a great light on, and what the beauty is that he competed in the Olympics, and now he's back competing in the Paralympics. He's not saying this is some sort of second-rate thing. This is something to be celebrated, and he will have some competition. You can see the Spanish are relatively excited to be here.
They are loving it. But I mean, Spain is just such a sporting nation, aren't they? They're extraordinary.
They really
They've produced fantastic footballers, fantastic tennis players, fantastic athletes at the Olympic and Paralympic level.
They certainly have.
They're just so excited.
They're all getting their moment in front of the camera as well. 215 athletes from Spain. They'll be a strong team.
Absolutely.
Here in the Paralympics. And they're still coming.
Wow, they are. Of course, Paralympic Sport TV has Spanish commentary as well that you can access through our website.
They might have been in the parking lot for a long time waiting for their turn to come in,
so.
but they certainly didn't get sleepy while they were out there.
Get the feeling they were probably out there dancing or
They probably were the whole time.
Having a great time.
There's something about football. I can't read the far side of that sign.
The second word either. Football solar.
Now you have to interpret that for us, right? Is that how that works? Spanish team still coming in. We have a couple of wigs going on. Now we're going into Sri Lanka. Go from one of the biggest to one of the smaller. So from 215 down to 8 teams, 8 people on the Sri Lankan team. Suriname coming in. Really is impressive. Just how many countries we have here. And this is a component of the opening ceremonies. We have the athlete procession, which is one of the big parts of the games as we see Sweden coming in. But at the same time, it's not the whole of the opening ceremonies. There will be an entertainment component of it. There will be a whole lot of fun as well. To the traditional blue and gold of the Swedes.
Yes, that's right. This is sort of, I guess, the middle section. Then after this, we will continue the story of Miranda, the central character, and her journey of enlightenment.
Yeah. So one of the DJs, Goldilocks there. Got to get 3 DJs that are keeping it entertaining for all of us as these guys are coming in. The Swiss coming in. You see that cross on the umbrella woman's skirt. I guess that'd be a dress, wouldn't it? Swiss are always looking sharp.
They
have
do.
Some tremendous athletes. There's Heinz Fry there, one of the best wheelchair athletes I've ever seen in my life. The guy's amazing. He's got to be up to 12, 14 Paralympic Games. It's something absolutely ridiculous. And
it's pretty amazing, isn't it, when you think of the training load
and how he's been able to stay at the top.
Well, injury-free. It's such a balance, isn't it, between training, overtraining, hurting yourself, being out for, however long, and then